Thank you for tuning in to Bait Tackle Store Live Bait Talk Show. I've got industry not antique, really well known in the industry, Duncan
from Real Repairs Australia.
I was gonna get it right.
Well, you know, it's not D&H Real Repairs
Okay,
anymore.
so it's Real Repairs Australia.
Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming onto our show.
No worries,
onto our show, sorry. Yeah, me and Duncan, we've been doing business for a couple of years. Every time you drop your reels here for repair, Duncan comes and picks it up and gets it repaired and sent to us. So Duncan not only repairs our reels, he also upgrades our drag washers, upgrades our bushing if we need, or our bearings. Usually I'm like, Duncan, just go nuts on this reel, and Duncan does everything. Magical work. So all the reels that you drop in Underwood gets delivered to Duncan because he's in the area, and I think the reels that are dropped in Gold Coast is a guy called Luke that does it there because it's just closer in the Gold Coast. So any of the reels that is don't like that, you know I love you. Yeah, but so any reels that is dropped in Underwood goes to Duncan to get repaired. So yeah. So Duncan, first question that I ask everybody: are you gay? No, just kidding. We know the answer anyway. You see, me and Duncan, we are really close. So we give each other shit all the time. But Duncan, so first question, right? What is the first fish you remember catching? All right, and how did you catch it? Tell us about the first fish that your real
first real fish I ever caught in my life.
I mean, you catch fake fish. How do you catch?
Yeah. No, it would have been a spangled perch as a kid.
Okay.
And it would have been, well, all we used to have was a piece of fishing line, probably 1.5 meters, 2 meters long. We used to tie it to a piece of cooler, catch a shrimp.
What's a cooler? So old, I don't even know what's a cooler. Foam. Okay.
You know?
Like
and we just, like a float, tie it to that, and we used to throw it out on the weeds, and when it took off, we'd get on the surfboard and chase after it.
So you wasn't even on the board, it was on a surfboard?
Yeah.
So you used the
in dams.
Oh.
Dams, creeks, because I grew up in Willawong, so it was Oxley Creek.
Yeah.
That would be the first fish I can really remember catching.
And who was it with anyway? Alone or?
Somebody from school or something.
Yo, that's mad. Yeah.
You know?
Bait, obviously?
Bait, yeah.
What's a bait?
Live shrimp.
Okay, so you had to catch the shrimp first?
Yeah, I had to catch the shrimp first. So we used to just get an old Hessian sack, get in the water and scoop it up and get shrimps.
Yeah, okay.
So, there's no rods and reels.
There's no. Could you actually buy rods and reels?
Yeah. Just didn't have enough money, mate, back then.
So which was the first, I mean, like, obviously I haven't been in Australia for a long time, I've been here for 20 years. And so which was the first tackle shop that actually opened? Like, it was, BCF wasn't obviously around.
No, not BCF.
But like, Captain Bly's, were they around during that time, or?
I can't really remember many
Kmart?
tackle shops. Yeah, Kmart used to get everything. Kmart and Amart All Sports.
Okay.
They were the two big ones because you could buy firearms, you could buy bows, you could buy fishing gear, everything at Kmart.
Oh, okay.
And then Amart All Sports was another big.
So Amart All Sports has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Amart obviously owns BCF now. They are the parent company of BCF. Yeah.
So
in the same company anyway. Yeah.
But independent-wise, I suppose the first real place I was spending serious money when I was an apprentice was Captain Bly's.
Oh, Captain Bly's. Okay. Was Tackle Warehouse around?
Tackle Warehouse, but
they've been around for 40
sort
years.
of the wrong way of where I was hanging out because I used to play indoor cricket at Kingston.
Oh, what about Charlton's?
Charlton, never went Red Bank way.
Okay, Charlton's been around for a long time.
Charlton's been there for years and years
we're just the baby in the industry. We just started for the last couple of years, so it's always good to know all these big names.
Well, you started as I Can Fish.
I started. Do you remember I Can Fish?
So I can remember.
Did you go to the old workshop when I had the cars and everything?
Only once,
yeah. So Bait Tackle Store started as I Can Fish, okay? Actually, it was called ikan fish. Like, I'm Singaporean, Malaysia. Ikan actually means fish, right? So it was just 2 shells, and look at us now. 2 shops.
Got a nice shop.
A lot of staff, a lot of headaches.
Yeah,
a lot of bills to pay. A lot of Duncan's bills to pay. Yeah. So Duncan, another question I want to ask you is like, how did you get into repairing reels?
Well, I've always repaired my own reels.
Yeah.
I'm a diesel fitter by trade, and how it actually started out was I was doing quite a few different mates' reels, and I'm very good friends with John Fuchs, who was part owner of Captain Blythe.
Captain Blythe, yeah.
And the reel repair guy he had at the time didn't want to do it anymore, so he asked me if I wanted to do it. And at the time, I was a contract diesel fitter, and I was pretty busy, and I sort of said, "Nah, not really, mate, but I'll help you out if I can." And then one thing led to another, and yeah, before I knew it, I was doing reels commercially, and
Okay, so
Yeah,
Captain
so-
Blythe was your first customer.
yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
So he basically launched me off, and then when he sold Blythes, he was Tackle World Underwood, and he had Tackle World Tingalpa.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so yeah, it kept me pretty busy because back then I was probably diesel fitting 4 to 5, maybe 4 to 5 days a week, and I was doing reels at least 1 to 2 days a week, depending on the ratio. These days it's gone full circle.
Yeah.
Diesel fitting I gave up in the last sort of 12 months, except for a couple of long-term customers.
Yeah. So diesel
and-
feeding, what were you doing?
Anything from excavators to dozers to
Okay.
compaction gear.
So
to-
mainly machinery.
yeah, I concentrated on machinery.
Okay. Yeah.
And component rebuild like engines, transmissions. That
Oh,
sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah, and now I just make a living out of.
Doing reels.
Doing reels, customising
so
reels.
which is actually more fun?
I don't think any of them are fun once you've done it
Can
long
you-
enough.
Yeah.
But doing reels is really good because I'm at home.
Yeah.
You know, and I've only got to walk down to my shed, open up. I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
You know, it has its own headaches. I mean, through COVID, which has been a trying year, as you know, parts supply.
Have you been affected by COVID?
A little bit, yeah. Parts supply has been a bit, you know, like Shimano and Daiwa. They're waiting on stock orders and no planes, so it all had to come sea freight. So you know, and then you end up with stuff queued up and waiting and stuff like that. I've been pretty fortunate because I do carry a lot of spare parts.
A lot of spare parts. You got no idea. The first time I went to Duncan's workshop, right, and that was in Willawong, yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
in
went to
Willawong.
Willawong to Duncan's workshop at Willawong to look at him, and he's got a cabinet behind him, and all his parts are labeled. He's got an Excel spreadsheet that tells you which reel will use which parts. I've never seen anybody that actually label every specific part on a reel and with part numbers and where to get them and which reels correlate with other men. Like that's why.
Well, time's money, mate. You know, it's no good if I've got a big
nobody
box
does
of
that,
jumbled stuff and maybe a bit of OCD coming in. But you know, it's like I can look up my number, look on my spreadsheet, go to a bin.
I
There's
was
location. it's in there.
amazed. I was like, man, this guy is going to do my reels because if this crazy guy takes all the time to really write down every part number for every part on a small reel like a.
I didn't do it all in one night or anything.
I know,
it's
but
over
like,
years,
yeah, but like, if somebody has a system like that, I know my reel is going to be looked after. And we did business, and it's been like what 2 or 3 years now,
yeah, maybe even a bit longer.
and we never have a problem. And Duncan is always I'm just trying to sell the business, which is really good business. Duncan is the kind of person, man. Oh, I need a static gear. Oh, they run the same gear as the Saragossa. You know what I mean? And I was like, you sure? I said, yeah. I'm like, and he knows, like all the gears. Like, I swear to God, you probably know the parts in the reel better than the people in Shimano or Daiwa.
Well, I suppose the advantage I have to just working for Shimano or just working for Daiwa or just working for Pure Fishing is I fix all brands.
Yeah.
All makes, all models, including electrics.
Yeah.
So you do learn what you can get away with and what you can't. So it's like some of your new tail walk, like I've just done.
Yeah. The two of
Right. The spin reel there's a lot of things in there that are very similar to Daiwa.
Oh, really?
You know.
Yeah.
So it's made. It's a reel made in Korea.
Yeah.
So a lot of reel parts come out of Korea.
Actually, I think
A lot of brands.
I'm not really into this thing that much because I got so many stuff to look after. Do you think that maybe there's only a couple of real manufacturers and then everybody just put their brand on top, or what do you think? How do you think?
Well, I've been led to believe over the years.
I mean, this is just speculation, obviously. That we
there's-
really don't know, but I'm just asking.
No, I've been led to believe
Yeah.
that there is a major real part company in Korea
Yeah.
that makes a lot of the parts for a lot of different brands.
Okay.
And then those parts are shipped out and assembled in different factories and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But from what I understand, there's only a few major companies, unless they're a smaller company like somebody like Boss Accurate or Van Staal or someone like that who specifically build their own
like
thing.
machine their
but then
own
you
gear.
pay for that too, you know, you're talking high-end gear. And then you've got the Japanese market, you know, which is a different market again. But so I do see in different brands and different models that some of the idiosyncrasies through the range are the same.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I want to ask you another thing. This is a very, very quite I don't know whether it's an old wives' tale or just something that we believe in the industry. Do Japanese reels, is it different from, I mean, in your opinion, I'm not sure, I don't even know the answer. They always say, oh, Japanese Shimano is better than Australia Shimano, or, you know, is there actually...
Nah, from what I see, it's all the same thing.
It's all the same
you know,
variants?
it's like one of the easiest ways to explain that market is Abu Garcia. You know I'm an Abu collector,
Yeah, we are.
right?
Yeah.
And what models get put into Japan, we don't see much in like Australasia. So, but I see the reels to service them quite regularly. And at the end of the day, it's the same stuff.
Okay.
Colours might change. Handles might change. Spool weight might change. But predominantly, it's the same reel.
It's the same reel, just little
quirks.
Cosmetics.
Yeah,
Cosmetic stuff.
a lot of it's cosmetics. You know, like there's brands out there, like there's brands out there, man, like they're two different brands, exactly the same reel.
Oh, really?
Just
different
all
color.
that's different is what it's called and the colour.
Yeah. So a lot of people probably want to know also, right? Like they're always that Shimano and the Daiwa, which is, I mean, obviously I know you love your Abus. You're like me. We love Abus.
Oh, you're going to ask me what reel do I think's...
No, which, I mean, it's your opinion. Which one is your favorite, Daiwa or Shimano? For all the Shimano and Daiwa fans, we don't even sell the Shimano or Daiwa here.
Yeah, I know. Look, I don't really have a favourite as such. I'll use whatever works for me.
Yeah.
But I suppose when it comes down to it, if you're thinking of going and buying a reel, and you know, I do look at forums and things where, you know, all the Daiwa guys are going on about Daiwa and all the Shimano guys, and you know, Shimano's spin seems to be a bit smoother than Daiwa's spin with a bit of age. Daiwa low profile seem to be a bit smoother than Shimano with a bit of a... So, you know, it's
like Ford and Holden, eh?
But exactly. And then what it really comes down to, and Australians are terrible for doing it, is always taking the reel out of the scope of what it's designed to do.
Like example, using a 2000 Stella to catch a 20 kg GT.
Yeah, with probably 40-pound braid. You know, so... And for anybody who's taking a reel back for warranty and stripping the line off, well, most people are aware of what's going on there. Like, you strip the line off because you've had an 80 pound on something that's rated for 40 pound, and you've just stressed the crap out of it.
Yeah.
You know? So
one of the main things is probably, like Duncan said, use the right reel for the right job. You know, if you're catching a 20 kilo GT or you're aiming for GT or red bass, a 10,000, 14,000, you know. Of course, the 6,000 would do the job still.
Oh yeah, but I mean, there's
but it's
plenty
not
of
designed
people,
for it, yeah.
Correct. There's plenty of people who might be fishing with a little 2,000 size reel with 8 or 10 pound braid, and they bang a 15 kilo Dewey. Right. Yes, it can be done. Am I going to target that fish on that? Probably not, because that's not what it's designed for. You know, so it really comes down to think what you want to do, as in species and size, and then have reels to suit and line capacity to suit what you want to do. And the biggest one I always get asked is, what do I do when I get home with my reel?
What do you do when you get home?
Mate, all I personally do is I put them all in the rod holders. And I hose them the same as I hose the boat.
Do you tighten the drag first and then hose them, or?
I've generally left the drags firm for the travel home anyway.
Okay.
Because I have seen driving down the road and someone's lines like peeling off the back. You know. I don't know if they've caught the neighbour's cat or what they've done, but it's peeling out. You know. So it's. I would suggest travelling always having firm. The biggest one I think is an issue for all reels is when guys are putting them, well, anybody's putting them in the back corner of a boat when they're travelling.
Okay.
So, like, the worst reels I see are jet skiers, kayakers.
Because the reel is unfortunately closer to the water's edge.
Water, and it's copping spray under speed or pressure.
Yeah.
So that spray is getting in places that if you're normally fishing with it, it wouldn't get. You know, and that's it's like when you see guys driving down the road with them on their bull bar. Oh, I just think happy days.
Yeah.
Be coming to see me.
Yeah. Why?
You know?
Why on the bull bars? Why?
Well,
because
it's
of the
rain
sand.
and the sand and dirt and dust and
Yeah.
you know, no good.
Okay.
You know, and let's face it, we all get a bit lazy, but and I suppose this is a bit to an extreme, but I've got a mate who beach fishes all the time and he uses overheads.
Yeah.
But he'll fish a session, and then if he goes home that night, he'll strip that reel, clean that reel, and redo it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you said, I've spent a lot of money to get here. I don't want my gear failing.
That is on beach fishing though.
Yeah, that's beach fishing. That's just to an extreme. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's him. He's got a bit OCD about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with guys coming home hosing, at least, I mean, look, I get plenty of reels. I've got to wash the pilly scales and the pilly blood's still off them. Like, really?
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit of sponge work or
Yeah.
wiping it.
What about oiling? Is it important?
Yeah, oil is, like, especially like on spin reels, line roller bearings.
Line roller.
Probably the most common bearing I change is line roller bearings. Braid retains water,
Yeah.
so the line roller gets soaked every time you're fishing.
Yeah.
Every time you cast, wind in, that reel's just getting soaked.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you get home, hose them off, shake them off. Then you can put a couple of drops around, and I think you sell it, the Protect oil.
Yeah, we do.
That's what I use. That's one of my favourite oils to use. It's
You know
a
what?
great general
I mean,
purpose oil.
there is always an argument. This oil is better than the other oil or whatever. You know what? Just
Well,
any oil will be better than no oil.
No, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Any oil's better than no oil.
Yeah.
And like everybody will go on about brands of oils and that. Let's just remember, nobody makes. Daiwa don't make their oil. Shimano don't make their oil.
I think they do. We just probably don't.
No.
sell it.
It'll still be petrochemical companies
Yeah,
who are making
yeah,
it
yeah.
for them
Yeah, yeah.
and putting additives in for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been using Protect oil for a long time, and it is a very, very good general purpose oil.
Yeah.
Very good. But if you're finesse fishing and you want great casting distance and things like that, I do have specialty oils that I use for certain customers who ask me to. Bearing in mind those oils are a lot thinner and they're going to spin out quicker and your service schedule will come down.
Yeah.
Because that's another question everyone always asks. How often should I service my reel?
Depends. I mean, like, very simple question is like, how often do you use your reel, right?
Well, yeah, and the more you use it, the less you need to service.
Because things keep moving.
I know that sounds, exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but I mean, I do a few Pro Snapperman's reels and they're pretty shocking looking reels. But they use them every day or every other day. So they still work.
Yeah.
It's when, if they were to leave them sit static for 1 or 2 weeks,
The salt forms.
it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. And I always hear from guys, I brought a reel, I used it once, put it in the cupboard for 6 months, and now it's seized.
Yeah.
Well, it only takes 1 grain of salt in the wrong spot, and it's all over.
Yeah.
So if you do have your reels in storage, one of the best things to do is just pick them up and rotate them and go through the motions of everything they do, even if you're not fishing. Because if you're going through those motions, that salt's not growing in the one spot,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think people have to understand that you might buy a $1,000 Stella and it's still not bulletproof. You know what I mean?
Oh no, nothing's
Yeah,
bulletproof.
nothing's bulletproof. So you still have to wash your reels to a certain extent. And is there a problem with overwashing it? Will you have a problem?
Very rare I see a problem of overwashing. You know, I get the odd reel that does have moisture inside, and that could be caused from that. But there again, there's plenty of times that reel's probably got soaked in a rod holder or anything like that, and you know, it's hard to say whether that's fresh or salt anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I got mates who literally warm soapy water and literally wash them, then lightly spray them off. Me personally, but you know, I've got an advantage. I fix reels, and that's what I do for a living. I just hose them.
Yeah.
The biggest one though is concentrating on hosing your braid.
Okay.
Because the braid retains salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the braid is like a cloth. Actually, it's not. It's actually a plastic material, but it's like a woven cloth almost.
Correct.
Yeah. And then as you reel your line in, obviously it brings salt water into your reel, and a lot of people just think about, oh yeah, I'll just, you know, sometimes you really got to soak the braid to get the salt out.
See, like we were talking earlier about bait casters with ported spools.
Yeah.
Wrap a piece of insulation tape around the spool, around the holes, before you put your braid on, because if you're doing a lot of casting, like rock walling or pontooning or something like that, where you're just cast after cast after cast, because let's face it, you know, in the scope of a day, if you're on the water for 8 hours,
especially if you're chasing jacks or something.
oh mate, it's you know, so eventually that will soak through the braid to the spool, and if there's holes, it's spinning out as you cast into your spool bearings.
And that's causing.
So then that causes other problems, and eventually it will leach into your reel.
I mean, like when he came in today, and he was like, "Oh, Ivan, you should put some tape on some of the spools." That, you know, I've never actually thought about it, but yeah, sometimes it's just even the initial setup where you actually put braid on your spool, just a tape to just.
I just use
insulation tape, or like a electrician's tape or something like that.
That's exactly right.
So just to cover some of the holes and to prevent.
Well, the other thing that it does is it stops your braid slipping on the spool.
Obviously.
Because that's another problem I get. I get guys bringing me reels going, oh, it's got no drag. So I mark the spool and I pull, and it's the whole lot's just spinning on the spool. I say, well, you know.
So obviously, in the market, there's a lot of BFS reels with a lot of holes on the spool, which is a good thing. And that is where you're saying that salt will go into the bearings. But people don't forget that the BFS fishing reels are usually designed for fresh water. You know what I mean? They're not really designed for salt water, you know what I mean? So when you're actually fishing with salt water, sometimes, like you said, the salt will go through the holes of the spool and goes to the bearings.
And that's another good point. You know, if you're researching to buy a reel, especially a bait caster, just ask the question, is it designed for salt?
Actually, what's the difference actually, Duncan?
A lot of the time, like,
well, I mean, what is a saltwater and a freshwater reel? Like, what is the design that actually is the difference?
There's no real design difference, but there's material difference.
Okay.
So a lot of your freshwater ones will have like aluminium gears, things like that, where a lot of your saltwater will be more brass and brass.
Okay.
You know.
So aluminium obviously gets that green color corrosion thingy.
Well, that's more brass. The aluminium will just literally frost and start falling apart.
Oh, okay. So they just
it just attacks it. But in saying that though, there's plenty of Shimano Ceratos, for argument's sake, that use aluminium gears that are fine. But that will come down to how much anodizing, the type of aluminium they're using. There's that many different grades. And I mean, if you look at Stellars, for argument's sake, mate, I'm not even sure what their gears are made out of, whether it's a titanium composite or what it is, but it's an alloy, but it's not like aluminium.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you know, wherever you're buying your tackle, just ask the question. You know, and time always tells, time always shows. You know. But there again, in saying that, there's plenty of bait casters that are designed for salt, and unless you're servicing it regularly, it'll still fall apart and go pear-shaped.
That's right. Okay, okay, so guys, I'm going to ask Duncan some personal questions about his fishing and stuff. So make sure you guys ask some questions because I'm looking at the comments, not a lot of questions. Try to see if you guys need any questions, and we'll go back to asking Duncan over some technical questions. But I'm going to ask Duncan some personal stuff. Duncan, what is your favorite form of fishing?
Favourite form?
Oh,
definitely out of a boat. I love rock walling.
Really?
Yeah, love it.
Rock, as it in a boat, but
as in a boat, chasing cod, jacks, that sort of thing. Love it. I love marlin fishing.
Really? Like just trolling?
Oh, yeah, trolling until you see birds or something. And switch baiting.
Okay, switch baiting. Okay. So what is your? I mean, that's your favorite. So what kind of fishing do you do most often?
Most often these days, rock walling.
Rock walling, just casting,
casting. For years, I concentrated on flathead. I used to do a lot of flathead fishing.
But flathead is not really rock wall; it's more like
that was trolling and using blades and plastics and things like that. But I use all that on rock walls too.
Yeah, do you know in Asia?
I just find you go through phases.
Yeah, do you know in Asia now they've got a new form of fishing rock walls, right? They actually do it from a boat and they're actually trolling. So they're trolling along the rock wall. Obviously, the rock wall is lower than the boat, and they use different depths. So the one closest to the rock wall might be like a 2-meter diver.
Yep.
And then the one next will be a 4-meter diver and then a 6-meter diver at 8-meter, and they're catching so much cod just trawling along the.
Yeah. Well, the cod love the rock.
Yeah.
And the problem with people fishing from a bank.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. People fishing even from a boat. They will go in close to the rock wall and cast out.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
What do you mean close to the rock wall and cast?
So that they might be close to the wall here,
Yeah.
and they're casting out into deeper
No,
water.
you should be in deeper water,
Exactly,
casting in, right?
Right, most of the stuff I'll bang is in a metre of water.
Yeah. I started rock wall fishing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I started rock wall fishing in Singapore. Singapore, we were known for, you know where the new Terminal 3 is? Or that was the old Terminal 3, but the new Terminal 3 is actually a reclaimed land. Okay? And then you got rock walls. And what me and my friends used to do is we used to start from the start of this rock wall. We'll cast, standing there, casting out and then working it back in. 2 steps, another cast.
Yep.
And we will catch so much estuary cod. Yeah. People don't understand estuary cod is such a good fish to eat. You know?
Yeah.
One of the best. Do you like snapper more or cod?
My favourite fish
Cod,
to eat,
man.
well, except for like,
For me, cod.
yeah, flathead would be one of my
Really?
favourites. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but
Unless we're talking coral trout. things
yeah.
like that,
But
that's
you
different
catch
game.
coral trout doing that kind of fishing too. Rock fishing.
Yeah, I've never caught one doing
Oh,
that.
probably
but-
because of the place you're fishing though. But if you go probably north or whatever, you probably catch a lot of coral trout doing rock bar fishing. Like the thing is, not many people do rock bar fishing here. Like, you know, which is pretty sad because it's another fish to target.
Yeah, I mean, there is a mortality rate on tackle, which is good for you. But yeah, unless you're in the grubby places, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So rock bar fishing, that's what I started from, and I really enjoy it too. Yeah. So how?
I mean, like I said, on the weekend I did my first trip to Awonga.
Yeah. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good, hot.
Who do you go with?
Mark Peterson.
Oh, Mark Peterson, my favorite Mark. Man, Mark, if you've ever been on Mark's boat, there is no half throttle. It's either 0
Flat out.
or 85 kilometers per hour. I was fishing with him, bro. You know the light, the anchor light. Flew out, man. Flew out. I've never seen an anchor light flew out of the boat except on Mark's boat. But Mark, awesome fella.
Oh, awesome to fish with.
Yeah.
Works hard, tries to
Yeah.
put you on the fish.
You know,
Yeah, it was a good experience. Got a few. So yeah, it was something different. Would I do it all the time? Don't know.
Why?
But it's just pond fishing.
Is
you
it
know.
hard?
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of casts.
How many fish did you get? How long did you fish for? How many fish did you get?
So we fished Friday afternoon to Sunday morning. So
Friday,
we did. So we did Friday afternoon, Friday evening.
Yeah.
Then early Saturday morning. Then back. Then went for the afternoon run again.
Yeah.
And then we did early Sunday. So I banged my fish on Friday afternoon, and I never banged another fish after that. But I lost a couple. I had quite a few follows and things like that. But yeah, it was a lot of casting. There's no doubt about that.
And one fish for you.
2.
What's the other fish?
I got 2 fish on Friday.
2 barras.
Hey?
2 barra?
2 barra, yeah.
Okay.
Oh well, yeah. I'm not counting the dirty old bony broom and stuff on
Right,
shore.
you know, but anyway, how big was the biggest barra?
93.
93. That was the first one or the second one?
First one.
Oh, okay. What was it on?
It was on a Molex.
Molex. Oh, we don't sell Molex here, by the way, but it's still good.
That's
Molex
what it
what?
was
What
on.
model?
140 perch.
Oh, okay. And did Mark get any?
Yeah, yeah. Mate, yeah.
How many did Mark get?
He got one. But he dropped heaps. He dropped heaps, and the funny thing was, it was like they would hit, head would come out the water, big shake and gone.
Yeah.
All over.
Like they just spit it out or something.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
just watch the lure go one way, and
Yeah. So is that your first barra trip or not?
that's the first one into a dam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No fun?
Yeah, no, it was good.
It was good?
I enjoyed it. It was really good not having to wash gear.
I
afterwards.
know you're gonna wash your boat.
Yeah, no, that
so
was pretty
Humphrey and the boys have been doing a lot of Maroon Dam trips.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they've been catching a lot of barra in Maroon Dam. So yeah, that's huh?
Honduran.
Monduran, sorry. Monduran, yeah, Monduran, and they've been bagging a few barras. I personally have not chased barra in dams. The last time I chased barra was with my friend, and also We were at Boyne River.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we got a 121, 126 or something.
Yeah, that's
like
good
that.
fish.
That's big fish. Yeah.
Very keen to do the Fitzroy.
The Fitzroy is fishing so good now because
Yeah.
they've actually stopped
All pro netting.
pro netting.
And that's been a while now, a few years, and since they've done that, it's just come ahead in leaps and bounds.
Okay.
I mean, I fished it probably 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and the guys I fished it with, we found it hard.
Where?
That Fitzroy,
yeah,
you know. Yeah, we got fish, but it was work.
That was many years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, that was about 6 years
That was
ago,
before
so-
they stopped the.
Yeah,
the
there's still pro netters in there.
yeah, but I heard now that they stopped. The fishing is incredible. I mean,
Yeah, it is. I've
they're
got a
catching
nephew who lives there. and,
1.3, 1.4 meter trap fin and stuff like that. I heard.
Yeah. Well, his best barrow out of there, I think, I can't remember the exact size, but it was in the 140s.
Oh man, that's crazy. 140 is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
really, really ridiculous.
So it's a great fishery, and it's not that far. You know,
That's
it's
right.
7 and a bit hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, it's conceivable you can do the long weekend.
Yeah. Do you fish a lot locally, like in
Yep.
like Gold Coast or?
I fish a lot, this year I haven't, but I normally fish a lot the Logan.
Okay.
I fish a lot the Brizzy.
Brizzy River.
Yeah,
I
Brizzy
don't ever
River.
see you there.
Well, you're wrong time, so I go different times.
Maybe we go different places, bro.
Yeah, I definitely go different places.
Yeah.
And I fish the northern end of the bay a fair bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, you know, out from Wello, sort of going towards Mud and that sort of area.
Yeah.
'Cause there's some great, Moreton Bay's a great fishery.
I don't know, this year, I don't know, I haven't fished Moreton Bay because I've been lazy. But so far, in the last 2-3 years, I feel that Moreton Bay fishing has dropped off a little bit. You know, like
Oh,
the people fishing Moreton
maybe it's
just
because of all the boat traffic.
Is it really?
Oh, I've never seen it, mate. I've been fishing that bay for, I don't know, it'd have to be close to 35 years, and I've never in my life seen so many boats in the water there.
That's good, right? That's a good sign showing that, you know, our industry is
I've never seen so many boats, period, at boat ramps and places like that,
Okay.
as in the last sort of, well, since COVID, really.
Yeah,
Nobody can do
COVID
anything
really,
else.
yeah. Okay, so let me see if I've got any questions. I think nobody's actually got a question, Duncan. Duncan, what's the future plans for RRA? What do you have? Do you ever think of the future of RRA? What do you want to do?
No, mate, just head down, bum up, keep working.
Keep working, keep
You know.
servicing reels for all of us.
Yep.
And okay, Duncan, one more question I want to ask, and this is really my personal question. Okay, Duncan, when you got things like, example, pen, slammers, right?
Yep.
Coming up with like 45 kilo of drag.
Yeah.
Or something like that, I don't know, something ridiculous, 45 pound or something like that.
Something,
Yeah,
yeah.
Those kind of high drag systems, right, on those reels, can you still upgrade the drags, or that's already max? They already use carbon
Well,
tax or?
most pen reels come.
I mean, not only pen, like even some abus, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, most. Oh, we're talking spin.
No, we're not talking about speed, we're talking even bait cast. Example, like
Bait
the
casts.
beast, like the abu.
Well, look.
Yeah.
Most of them will come out nowadays. Are coming out with either CT100 or carbon text.
Okay, standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
Most reels today. But I will say that the base washer in nearly every brand is not. Right? It can be various different materials. So for argument's sake, not long ago I bought a brand new Abu Ike.
Yeah,
As soon as I got it, pulled it out of the box, stripped it down,
yeah,
redid it.
yeah. How do you redo it? What do you?
So basically the base drag washer was like a Bakelite material.
Yeah,
Throw that away.
yeah.
So I lap all the plates, I
Yeah.
lap the gear.
So when you're lapping it, you're actually creating more surface area, or you making
Well,
it smoother?
basically what I'm doing is making it flat.
Okay,
Because
making
you've
it
got to
flat.
remember most drag washers are just stamped.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I make them flat.
Yeah.
And the other thing that does is, if it's like glass on glass, very smooth, you don't get a lot of bite with your
Yeah,
drag
no
washer.
friction, yeah.
So when you lap it, then
You got a little bit of like scuff marks.
scuff marks, so
Yeah.
you get a lot smoother. And Carbon Tex is super smooth drag. Plus I do all my drags, well everybody who brings their reel to me, and I've never had any complaints, all drags I do wet, I don't do them dry.
Okay. Well, what is wet and what's dry? Sorry.
So basically I use drag grease
Okay.
on the
okay.
drags.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? The reason being is, all the dry drags I see, when they get wet from salt water, they just corrode up, something shocking.
Yeah.
So if you're using a wet drag with grease,
It will
you
push
don't
the-
get that
push the-
problem.
push
Push
the-
the
all
water,
the
out,
water
or the
out.
water can't get in.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's smoother at the break. and
Yeah.
you get a lot better. And people say, oh, you know, well, you're using a grease one, they get hot and gum up and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but
If it gets that hot, it
yeah,
comes out.
I watched an episode of Mythbusters where they tried to get a reel on fire and they tried towing it with a motorbike and all sorts of things, and they still couldn't do it. So,
Yeah. Shane asked the question, right?
Shane,
Shed Lewis.
of course he did.
Yeah. Do you target anything else other than caught in the Brisbane River?
Yes, I do, Shane. I target threadies.
Target tradies?
Yeah, I get threadies.
Yeah.
Best night I've had for threadies in the Brizzy would be with my nephews was 11.
11 tradies. Almost beat me, but I still beat you.
There you go.
But okay, so sorry. So you're saying, okay, you left the drags and everything, but can you actually upgrade? Sorry, back to the technical question. My head is always all over the place. But anyway, can you still actually upgrade those brakes? Like example.
Oh,
like,
there's things I can do to give you more drag, yes.
Okay.
Not necessarily the drag material, because
Yeah,
they've already
they
got a
come
good
with
material.
yeah.
But there's a few little tricks I have up my sleeve that I can do.
Okay.
There's also some companies out there like Smoothie Drag Washers, which was the forerunner for Carbon Tex.
Yeah.
They also do different drag kits for like lapped and ground stainless steel plates,
Yeah.
which so makes the drag stack.
Higher.
Yeah,
You
well,
put more pressure on it,
they'll keep the same stack, but their individual washers will be a bit thicker in the stainless. And then they do like kits for like pixies that come out with one drag washer and a real big thick top steel washer.
Yeah.
But they'll do a multi-disc kit.
Oh, okay.
In saying that, that's something to look at when you're buying a reel. I mean, if you're going to buy a reel, all schematics are pretty much online these days.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
so if you want to look at a reel and what's inside it, just go online, look it up, do a Google search. Don't ask me. You know, I haven't got time.
Yeah.
But yeah, do a Google search like shimanofish.com.au, Daiwa, you know, Pure Fishing, the list goes on and on. And then, look, yes, a lot of sites will just divert you to the States, but they're all there. All the schematics are there. And what you really want, if you want high drag pressures, whether it be a jigging reel, a low profile, whatever the reel might be, multi-disc drag. The more plates, the more drag
surface
washers,
area,
the more surface area, the more you're going to
It's just like clutch in a car. You got one single plate, or you got twin plate, or triple plate.
Yep.
You know, so the more surface
Exactly
area.
so.
Yeah.
You know, and bearing in mind, when you start upgrading drags, sometimes you can go to a point that other things start to fail
Obviously.
because they can't hold it.
Obviously.
You know?
Just like when you put horsepower in a car, the gearbox breaks.
Yeah, or the diff.
Yeah, or the diff,
brake
or-
axle.
that's right, that's right.
Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But
Yeah.
are you like, for me, right, everybody is so obsessed with these drag figures in the reel. But you know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, this Shimano only got 6 kg of drag.
yeah,
But you know what?
I think a lot of it. Look, in the early days, I pulled a lot of reels out of boxes and put them on spring scales. And people say you shouldn't check it with a spring scale. It should be a proper drag checker and this and that and everything. What I can say is this: most of what they say on the box to what you get is two different things.
Yeah. Lesser or more usually?
Lesser, generally, right? Two, you get 8-9 kilo of drag and you've got it up near sunset, and a big fish hits, you want to be hanging on to it.
Man,
Because
trust
I
me.
don't think people understand what 8
How much 8 kilos? That's right.
is.
People don't understand. Like you
Yeah.
try to go to the gym, and you try to hold it, put 3 plates on, which is 7.5 kilos, and just do this. Man, I started doing that to work on my shoulder. I started on 2.5 kilos. Let alone something that's got 14 kilo of drag. You won't even be able,
No.
like a normal person that doesn't train would not
You
be able
know, I have seen
to. Yeah.
people hook
No,
straight
but it's
out
not
of their
even
head.
that. Your rod will snap.
Well, that's another point.
Yeah, your rod will snap, your leader will snap. So sometimes drag is not like everybody goes crazy. Like you know, you upgraded my drag on my Ocean Giga.
Yep.
I don't know how many kilos I've never tested. Man,
I've
I've
never
never
tested
ever
either.
needed to lock it.
But a lot of the time when I do a drag, you'll get close that you can lock it.
Yeah, but like for me,
Yeah.
I've never ever need to lock it because I know if I lock it, my line and my leader is gonna snap, and I'm gonna
True.
lose the fish. So
See, the other thing that people need to remember too is when you first initial pull of a drag for it to break, you're always going to get a peak. So even if you're setting a drag at say 4 kilo, I'm just an example, right? But it might take 4.2,
For it to
4.4,
start
maybe
moving,
even
yeah.
4.5 before it starts running.
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So that is something to think about, especially if you're chasing big fish on light line.
Yeah, yeah. But then when you chase big fish on line, high drag pressure is going to cause the line to burst.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's always that. It's always that.
You got to trade one off against.
You got
the
to
other.
trade one off. But what I'm just trying to say is, when you buy a reel, don't be so obsessed with the
Oh,
drill.
no.
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of things else. How smooth it is.
I would be
how much
more obsessed with looking at the schematic
Yeah.
and seeing what's in the drag.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, you know, somebody who wants 20 kilo of drag so they can just winch something up, use a winch.
20 kilos, the fish
Yeah,
will
but you
winch
know what I
over,
mean.
yeah.
You know, like, you know, because I do electric reels as well.
Yeah.
For guys who chase deep water fish like bass and harpooker and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, mate, it's like half of them are gone to winches.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, so I got B asking you a question, right? Does Duncan have a brand preference in reels he uses himself? Everybody's trying to
Do
look
I
into
have a
the
brand
reels, yeah.
preference? Not
Last
necessarily.
question for you.
Look, I'll say I use a lot of Abu and I use a lot of Daiwa.
You use a lot of Abu and a lot of Daiwa.
Daiwa.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I use a bit of Shimano.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
again,
not a
it
question-
depends what
that's
I'm
not-
fishing.
That's not a question.
Yeah, but it depends what I'm fishing
So
for.
what you're trying to say is
And-
not one brand does everything good.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not tied, and I don't specifically tie myself to any one brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I've found good models in all brands,
Yeah.
and I've found bad models
In
in
all
all brands.
yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm going game fishing, I'm either using Penn or Shimano,
Yeah.
one of the two.
Yeah.
You know, or a combination.
Yeah.
If I'm targeting like cod or jacks or
Yeah.
something like that, I'm using low profiles. It's either Abu or Daiwa.
Yeah.
You know, but then there's guys like Johnny Costello who use a lot of Shimano,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's
Use-
holding them
yeah,
forward.
Yeah.
It's
Use what
personal
you want.
preference.
Like for me, personally, all my reels above 6,000, like bigger spinning reels, I will use my Daiwa, and then anything that is below 6,000, I will use Shimano. That is my preference. You know? Everybody has got their reasons, but that is my preference.
I mean, look, it's probably the most common question I get asked. What would I buy?
Yeah.
Or what would I do? What I can say is in the industry, right, is there's a lot of brands out there today. You know, like you've got a new brand, Harwood,
Yeah.
there's 13, there's, you know, you've got a Kuma, you've got
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. You know, what it comes down to is, for people like me, it's not if, it's when something goes wrong, because it will, it's mechanical.
Yeah.
Where can I get the parts? Can I get the parts? How hard is it to get the parts?
What reel is it actually based on?
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
And look, I'll be honest, hands down at the moment, Shimano would have that pretty well number one in the marketplace for getting parts.
Yeah.
You know, they have really excelled in the last few years at ordering and supplying.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And Dai was pretty close behind.
Okay, yeah, pretty good. Good to hear. Yeah. Okay. So last question, Duncan, that I ask everybody before I close. You've been in the industry for so long. What is one thing that you love in this industry, and also one thing that you hate? And then if you can change, you would love to change.
I would love to. Okay.
Or what do you love? What do you love?
I love the industry because of the diversity of people that you meet in it.
Like me, the crazy
Yeah.
ones.
I love the fact that it's something that I'm passionate about and I get to work in it.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky in that sense, eh?
Yeah,
We actually
I
do
mean,
what we do.
You know, I've gone from working a job to doing this
Yeah.
because I just love it so much.
Yeah.
And people say to me, has it become a job? Yes, it has, and
Yeah.
it is a job for me now, but I still love it.
Yeah.
I have my days and I have my moments, but I still love it.
Yeah.
And it's meeting independent tackle retailers. That's another thing. Shop independent.
Yeah,
You
shop
know?
independent. We always need a little,
You know?
the little help that we have. I mean, it's the independent that actually brings the sport up.
Correct.
Like you go to those big shops, they hire 13-year-olds that you try to ask them a question and they don't really know how to answer. Like, I don't open this shop because of money. Like, don't get me wrong, it's profitable, but I open the shop because of my passion in this thing. You know what I mean? The independent owners, open the shop because they're passionate in every form of the fishing that they themselves do. Like you go to some shop in the Gold Coast and all they want to sell is what do you call it, like those skirts or whatever for trolling. Is because the owner actually is passionate about that kind of fishing, you know.
Correct.
So the independent store,
But you find that with a lot of stores and
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
You know, thing I hate about it
yeah.
is other people deciding what they think I want to buy.
Like what do you mean? Example?
So example is sales, whether it be Shimano, Daiwa, Abu, they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Our demographic isn't going to buy that. Well, how do you know unless you put it in the market and try it?
Yeah.
Right? There's reels I would love to buy, there's tackle I would love to use, but it doesn't come to Australia.
Yeah.
And I've got to source it overseas. That's one of the things I dislike in our industry.
Yeah, because nobody wants to risk putting product that they you know. But sometimes brand culture and stuff like that, it just takes that one reel that people
Correct.
Yeah, to make a
You know, like there's some cool stuff out there that we're not seeing.
yeah. 100%.
There's some real cool
That's
stuff.
why the very important for independent shops like us to break the norm and import stuff that you know that you don't see much of. You know,
Correct.
Everybody, everybody hates me. But why? One of my passion why I started this business is because I wanted to use things that I could not buy in any other
I
store.
mean, like I said earlier, I collect Abus.
Yeah.
Right, classic example.
Yeah.
There's certain reels, even brand new ones that come out. I can't buy them here in Australia.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got contacts in other places like the US and that I can buy them through.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's
But you know what? All these people are missing the joy of owning something different. Yeah.
Correct.
I get what you mean, yeah.
It's like we were talking earlier about the Japanese market. The Japanese market has so many cool things,
Yeah.
but we just don't see it.
Yeah.
You know, because there's like a European market, a Asian market, a
Yeah.
Australasian market,
Yeah.
and an American market.
That's why my job is fun because I bring in stuff that people come into the shop and they're like, I've never seen this before. I'm like, yeah, because you are so used to seeing that stuff that's in Australia. That's why our shop is the difference. We bring in stuff that people don't see, and sometimes I make a mistake. Nobody wants to buy, but you know what? That makes us different.
But then, you know, there's nothing wrong with anybody bringing in a nominal amount of stock to put it in
yeah,
and see what it goes like.
yeah, and you know what? I think in the future, I think that this is my opinion. I think that that's how the tackle industry is going to go, because you know what? These days with the internet, if you don't bring in stuff in the shop for people that they want, they end up going online to buy it themselves anyway.
Well, online's a big thing. And look, as you know, I stock a lot of spare parts.
Yeah.
And I stock custom handles and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't stock as many handles as I used to. The simple reason being is the internet.
Yeah.
I can't compete.
Yeah.
I cannot buy enough to compete.
And,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, a lot of big brands also, they used to believe in that manufacturer, distributor, sole agent, tackle shop. They themselves are opening internet shops to
Correct.
sell to the
E-stores.
Yeah, e-stores themselves. So
Yeah.
yeah. So as tackle shops or as any business owner, it's always a revolving, not revolving door, but like you always have to be flexible to change your.
And let's face it, personally, I love to go and see something.
Yeah.
I like to hold it.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
a lot of tackle shop owners, right? Like sometimes you want to get something, the people don't even bring them in. The distributors don't bring them in.
Correct.
So it's really, really hard. So.
And then you find something that's really good and it's working and everything's hunky dory, and then they stop.
That's it. That's
You
it.
go,
That's
"Well,
it. And
how
it
come I can't
discontinued.
get it
Yeah,
anymore?"
that's right.
You know?
That's right. So, well, Duncan, it has been a pleasure.
Not a
Usually
problem.
it is a 30-minute show, but me and Duncan, every time we talk, this is like a small session. Usually
Yeah,
we're
true
here
that.
for 2 hours.
True that.
Thanks, Duncan, for coming.
No worries.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I would love to see you guys in the shop, and also Duncan service our reels. Honestly, in my opinion, I would not let anybody else touch my reels except Duncan. But there are other good, wheel repairers and stuff. But Duncan's got my heart. Anyway, boys, thank you so much. Tune in next week. I don't know. 2 weeks time. I'll try to get somebody that we both know.
Yes.
To come to the shop.
Yes.
It's gonna be a secret. You know who you are, so you better be free in 2 weeks time. All right. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys tune in again. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the shop.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.